Hello and welcome, mourners, to the Dirge of Mourning. I am your host, Andrew, alongside Terry. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at Helllight's 2025 release, We the Dead. If you've got a friend who likes a doomier side to their music, then play them this album, convert them to Funeral Doom. It's Helllight's 8th album, and it could be Album of the Year. We have a contender. Dark ambient sounds and a piano plays as the band comes in with their classic dismal Funeral Doom at about 1 minute and 50 seconds. The death growls start, and just like that, the pain and lamenting begins.
I noticed that it was very slow, and I noticed that at the beginning, and I also noticed that the guitar was typically their sound. Like, you know how you get familiar with certain bands, what the sound is? Their sound.
Agreed. Absolutely. There's that sense of, oh yeah, that's Helllight. That's just Helllight.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like, you can identify certain by those sounds.
An organ can be heard. Then we get, like we were just mentioning, guitars and a little bit of a solo-y type stuff that is just epic and depressing all at once as the band unleashes its suffering of a heavy and light mixture. What a way to start an album. We get another guitar-like solo. The death growls express agony. The piano comes back alongside with some other guitar work, setting in the mood as the band comes back to a more, darker almost. Like there's this little sense of it's gonna get worse. It's like they're hinting at what's coming.
I agree with you, yes.
And again, we get that classical Funeral Doom style that we all enjoy at the 9 minute and 50 second point. We get the clean singing that is both haunting and yet sad as double kicks play in the background. Again, classic Helllight style as the song comes to an end with a piano at 11 minutes and 20 seconds.
Very, very well worth the time.
Right? And like I said, we've got that classical way that Helllight just delivers the Funeral Doom.
Yeah.
Haunting piano starts us off. Then
I underlined it and wrote it in big letters, so it's really good.
Just love the way this track starts, I really do. Then the band comes in again with that classic Helllight pacing yet again. See, here's the thing though. Have you noticed how it sounds like Helllight of old, but it's fresh and new and invigorating?
There is something different.
Again, you wouldn't expect a band to sort of like reinvent their sound like to this degree. Because they are showcasing here why they are, at the top of their game. And again, it's their 8th bloody album.
Well, like the last album, which I've listened to many, many times, as we know, as you know. This album, to me, has little hints of that. In other words, it has similar sounds, similar things, but this is a whole new thing. So you will not be disappointed. This is something fresh.
It is. It absolutely is. And it just showcases how they are a master of their craft.
Oh, for sure.
With that said, organs playing slow, doomy, marchy type stuff. The notes express the misery, yet again, the clean vocals are haunting yet beautiful, sad and miserable. The guitar work on this album, so far, again, we're only track 2.
Yeah, I definitely wrote something about lovely, the word lovely, clean singing. And, well, go on, because my rest of my notes are toward the end.
The guitar work is just a standout on this album. Like, it's really featured perfectly here. Set in the atmosphere that again, this might be one of my favourite songs from the album so far. We've only just reached the 7 minute and 42 point of this track. The clean vocals come in again.
So to me, this one had toward the end, I know it's kind of weird to say this, but like a very grand or big sound. I don't know if I would use the word majestic, but a very big, grand sound. So that impressed me with it might have been toward the end.
Yeah. Basically, what we get is a shift from around about the 8 minute and 20 mark, where the music shifts to a more somber funeral march, with the guitar parts sort of being like put in here and there. Then Helllight brings on the pain and the suffering, like, only they can. Big bombastic sound here, again harkening back to that metal element, but still keeping it within the funeral doom framework. It is outstanding here. It just goes to show you that this band is capable of not only doing classic funeral doom within, Helllight's wheelhouse, but going that one step beyond to bring us something that's awesome. The song is amazing. It fades out with a guitar tone lasting until the very end. The track ends at 12 minutes and 36 seconds. A somber guitar intro as the drums slowly come in. The mood so far is of despair. But before you can wallow, Helllight does what Helllight does best, bringing on the doom to this funeral. Death growls, heavy metal, making this journey through a cemetery torturous.
I have the words regular Helllight music, but once again, recognizable.
This, of course, is enforced by the eerie, almost ghost-like spoken word. As the mood shifts to a dramatic style, as blast beats and guitar solos accompany that spoken word, then it is a transition into the death growls. All of that was only, now, brace yourself, 3 minutes and 23 seconds. All of that awesomeness in such a short time. A gentle guitar with ambient sounds is played, lasting until about the 4 minute point, where the drums come back, but a bit softer and slower. The only way I could describe this is an eerie, melancholy tone to the overall aesthetic that's going on with the music. Even when the death growls come back, there is a sense of misery here. At the 5 minute and 38 point, the spoken word returns, and so does the piano. This is where it just becomes... Oh, sorry, I was just remembering how awesome that sounded, my bad. Yeah, at the 7 minute and 55 point, we get a solo, and it is just majestic. What more do I need to say? It's awesome.
Well, I noticed a soft guitar toward the end, which was really nice, really nice.
With only 2 minutes to go with this track, classic Helllight in all of its mournful glory, as the track fades to an end at 10 minutes and 51 seconds. Just a phenomenal song. There's no other way to describe this.
Well, and the thing is, their songs are all quite long, but you don't notice it because they go through the various changes and stages. I've never had a problem listening to their long songs. Like some long songs, you go, geez, is this thing ever going to end?
Right, see, this is what I mean by, like, they've managed to keep their style fresh. It doesn't seem like, oh, we're playing long shit for the sake of playing it.
It doesn't. It just goes through its stages. It does what it needs to do, and that's the length it is.
It's like I've said before, not a single note is wasted with bands like this. Right. Not a single note. They know exactly where it's to be placed and why it's placed there. And this showcases it, I think.
Really good.
I don't know how they were able to make this piano sound so miserable and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah. actually felt that it was really cool with the ambient sounds.
It just
It's yeah.
and with the clean vocals that have that added sort of echo effect to it,
Yes.
makes it so awesome that this is what I would call a funeral ballad.
Well, this particular song is a type of an interlude.
The track lasting only 5 minutes and 1 second. This atmospheric opening, just like track 3, is almost somber in tone. But we wouldn't have it any other way, would we? No, of course not. This is Helllight, for Christ's sake. At the 1 minute and 14 point, we get the beautiful vocals from ex-Draconian vocalist. Go check out the rest of her works. The full-on funeral doom kicks in at the 2 minute and 20 second mark. And it is nothing short of an epic masterpiece.
Well, I noticed something. At the beginning, I really liked the gorgeous guitars, and I believe I heard cymbals, light cymbals, giving it this very interesting sound. And you mentioned the singer. I just have to say, superior voice, superior singing.
It is.
So we'll talk maybe a little more about that.
Oh, yeah. At the 3 minute and 40 second mark, we get a nice little bass line before the sounds of melancholy return. The death growls are, of course, on point in this track, blending extremely well with the clean female vocals.
Yes,
again, the fact that they were able to find a voice like hers and blend it so well with what they do. Talent, pure, unadulterated talent, right here.
They need to do more of this. This is just, it's excellent.
I agree. More of this, please. In fact, if you could get the singer to come back and do more, please, this would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, the blending was so perfect.
At about the 6 minute and 4 mark, we get a funeral-like march of gloomy tones from the instruments and choral-like vocals as the music ramps up at about 7 minutes and 51 seconds. The mood staying true to the overall Helllight experience. A classic in the making right here.
The perfect song.
The solo is, of course, just awesome in all of its weepy doominess. Did I mention you should go get the damn album? Did I? Don't know if I said that yet. Just, The song comes to an end at 10 minutes and 48 seconds.
A wonderful 10 minutes you will spend.
Okay. As if I needed a reason to be more mournful, Helllight hits us with this an incredible, impeccable intro that I cannot do justice for. I will try, but I'm going to fail miserably. So just bear with me, please. Clean vocals are fantastic. What are we expecting at this point? Honestly.
Well, and the voice begins pretty much right away on this, which I noticed.
Yeah, the music so doomy. The death growls are just what this ex-gravedigger needed to feel like I was watching a funeral take place. And this is only the first 2 minutes and 11 seconds. The spoken word, sad and powerful. The music is atmospheric and gloomy. I'm trying my best to explain just how this is making me feel and give you the play-by-play here, but I am struggling to express how fantastic this is.
This one was really, it did stand out. I have exclamation points and underlines, so I know I must have really liked this one as well.
Again, I'm sounding like a broken record on this review, simply due to the fact that I won't be able to just go out and buy this and enjoy what these guys are showcasing here. Top tier funeral doom. They are becoming one of the biggest names in atmospheric funeral doom. In fact, they might as well be at the top of that fucking list, honestly.
Oh, yeah, with good reason.
Right? Could easily make the argument for why this should be album of the year. I could. At 7 minutes and 40 seconds, The funeral march-like session of the music is upon us, with some clean singing, almost weeping like spoken word, eeriness, all of that dark essence that they just bring to the table so well. Hits a high note within the doomy elements of dread and suffering. Anticipation is now at the forefront of said suffering, of solos and death growls, singing us a hymn of loss, the funeral to end all funerals, it feels like. The gloom and doom of metal at its finest. The song comes to a dismal end at 12 minutes and 46 seconds. I am just blown away by just that the experience it gave me, that journey that it took me on. I found it very hard to do what I normally do with these reviews because I was just so blown away by how well executed it was. Living up to their name, Helllight. The doom and dread are on full display in this opening.
What I noticed at the very beginning was that it definitely sounds like a march. There's a processional march going on.
The funeral elements amplified again with that doom metal sound, like quality of, the atmosphere, background music, a truly dark and almost sinister tone, even with the spoken word. I know this might sound a bit short for a song that's like this long, but I feel the only way I need to sort of sum this up is Helllight at their darkest.
This whole album had kind of this dark thing.
This is where, again, we see them doing something different in terms of their music. Not only have they done what we expect them to do musically, but they've changed the way that they've approached it. It's getting darker and darker. As if like there is no more returning from these emotions that they're feeling.
Right. I definitely noticed that.
Again, getting darker. Perhaps this is the best track. This and probably track 4 and track 5.
I mean, pick any, it could be your favorite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, different people like different ones, but in all, I like all of them.
There's a great mix of the clean vocals, the death growls, the guitar playing, again, is just absolutely fantastic.
I did like this one a lot.
We get a weeping end to this track as the guitar tones end at 14 minutes and 5 seconds.
Wow, that long. It sure didn't seem like it. When I was listening to these, I felt like the time passed very quickly.
That's what I'm saying, like, so overwhelmed by the emotional atmosphere that they created. I didn't even realize that the song had ended while I was writing this. I had to go back and listen to it several more times just to come up with what I came up with, because it was just so overwhelmingly enjoyable. Like,
and it draws you in.
Right.
And then you just tend to forget as you're listening, because it's so, I don't know if using the word enjoyable for
But it is though. Like, I do enjoy Funeral Doom.
I know. It is enjoyable. This album, their albums are like that. But this particular album just...
Absolutely.
Just put it on and listen to the whole thing. That's what I would suggest.
Overall thoughts on just the music?
Fantastic. Blew me away. I'm not often like that. You often are, but I'm like, this is really, really well done. Blending perfectly from one instrument to the other. It's just...
All I have to say is, hold the wait, because where do these guys get off making such a phenomenal album?
I know.
It's like fresh dirt from the grave. Helllight has given us such a unique and unmatched approach to this dismal music we call Funeral Doom, showcasing not only do they understand what their fans want, but the music itself. The dirge-like atmosphere and the heavy metal influences are beautiful, just breathtaking.
The first track is called Echoes of Eons.
I like it.
I like it too. They do have up a lyric video, by the way.
Ah, so they do.
Yeah. So when we think about eons, just the word eons, one eon would be a very long time. So with the S on the end would be a very, very, very long time. What I think these lyrics are defining here, beautiful, short lyrics, very, very interesting. I think what we're talking about here, possibly, are the forgotten dead. We have, a lot of words like lost, won't bring back, gone, river of souls. I mean, we're vanishing. I really liked the veils of time when it talks that sort of little phrase.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Would you like me to share what my favorite part is in terms of lyrics? We're buried ghosts in this garden of oblivion, as long gone, wounded memories of pain.
So that's the opening.
I think that sums up the whole idea of like what you're talking about. Of like we're trying to remember the ones that are forgotten. Again, I get images of like a really old cemetery that has been abandoned for eons, and you just stumble across it and go, "Oh."
Going back, my actual idea was like going way back, like ancient times, even like veils of time.
Yeah, like super old stuff here.
Right. Souls that vanish, lost in the void. Okay, here we go. This is my favorite. Lost in the void. We're in silent pain, like tears in the rain. When the light is gone, I won't bring it back again. No,
just beautiful,
coming back. This is sad. This is finality. This is the end. And the fact that it's been going on for eons, we only have these little tiny, the word echoes. So it's like just a little tiny remembrance.
So here's probably the best way to sum this up. Think about like how archaeologists will find tombs of things that are like so old that we didn't even know about.
You can kind of see this in
your head. It's that idea, right? Oh, just beautifully written and just a great opening track here.
Absolutely. So cool. Really cool. As a fading sun, we lie. Oh, wow. So, besides being beautiful at the beginning with the music and everything, what we have here is a description of grief through lots of metaphors to describe it.
Well, one of my favorites is the following: a drop of sorrow in the desert of grief.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just love the way that is framed. That's so doomy. I love it.
So what I think is going on here is it's kind of like the unimportance of it all. Like when it comes down to this, a spark of nothingness, a drop of sorrow in the desert of grief, okay? A spark of nothingness. In other words, life is but a flash in the pan.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it is.
Here and then it's gone, right?
They are only shadows in our souls.
So,
just
when
wow.
you think of that, when I think of stuff like this, like how we're specks of life, that they talk about, I always picture for some reason ants, the way that ants are outside.
Yeah. Again, it's that whole again, they reference it here. We, the kings, reigning over nothing, dying candles, flames in the wind. It all comes down to this idea of we are insignificant to the grand scheme of things.
Right. But yet it all plays into the whole world in a way. When you think of, like I said, staring at a bunch of ants, you think they're insignificant, and yet they have a reason, but they could be obliterated simply by my shoe stomping on the entire things, like all of them. So it's kind of,
again, it all goes back to like the idea of like these old civilizations, similar to like how the first one was. These ideas that we've had these ancient like cultures that have come and gone, and will they be remembered again in another 1,000 years? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? At the end, nothing remains after it's all said and done, I think is the overall point of this.
Right. And so it's, yeah, sad idea once again. So far we have a lot of sadness, really sadness.
Again,
We're examining themes of
self-introspection.
You used the word dark before, and that's what it is. This whole album is very dark.
Yes.
Desperate Cry. Oh, wow. Let's see here.
Awesome title.
I did want to say about the spoken word here was that they do use some kind of a filter to make it sound different, which is really cool. I did like that. And what I think this one is about is the people who are left behind are filled with the pain at this point.
Yes, this is talking about the mourning process.
Yeah. No one is exempt from the time and the tide. Collectively, it's talking about just the way kind of that things are.
Right, basically no one escapes grief.
Days filled with loneliness, can you save me from myself? How can you leave me now? Goddess of the sun, can you save me from myself? You raised me. How could you leave me now? In other words, how can you leave me in darkness? Everything is caving in. You're alone. How do you face the day now that you have this? You're carrying this pain or this grief for whatever reason. And it's just no one.
Like I said, no one escapes grief. And no matter how you try to cope with it, you eventually have to deal with it.
Here's the lines I like. Here they are. Time and tide wait for no man at all. Dream on, my son, while you can. So, in other words, once again, life is fleeting. Accept that your little dream and your little fun is fine, but just do it while you can. This is not going to last. It's a very sad look at how things are.
Right, it's a reality check.
It's a negative look at things. Like, to me, the showcasing in this entire album is the sort of flip side of, is there any hope? Oh, there's hope. In this album, I think what's going on is they're showing lack of hope.
Right. So again, we get the dying candle's flame holds dreams and hopes, nightmares and sorrows of the self-image we made. This idea of we as emotional and rational beings simultaneously hold on to these two conflicting ideas of when someone passes. We have this very negative outlook on life right away of, oh shit, everything around me is just crumbled to nothing.
Yeah.
And once we've passed that stage, now that could take a while, but once we have managed to get past that, we do start to hope and dream again about, oh, maybe life could be better on the other side and stuff like this.
But this particular album is examining the first part of that.
Exactly.
Interesting.
This is a course on philosophical ideas.
It is.
And it is an amazing.
We're so in the depths of darkness with this one.
And it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we're wallowing around listening to the music as it goes on, but we're wallowing. We the Dead.
The title track.
Oh, this one, lack of hope, darkness. Once again, let me just reiterate that we have. So, this one's really short. I'm just going to read it. In this lonely endeavor, stars will watch us fade. No light will find us. Hope won't light the way. The winds are blowing sorrow in the land of broken dreams. We're just wounded memories in a distant dream. We're dancing with darkness while singing with pain. The echoes die in silence in this sorrowful rain. As we're slowly fading through these endless storms, while the moon darkens until the silence embraces. Now, what's interesting is that very last line gives us a little throwback to.
So allow me to. The last part here is a throwback to 3 of their albums.
Ah, okay.
Through these endless storms, I should say, is a callback to one of my favorite albums by them. While These Moons Darken is based on one of their album covers where the stages of the moon phases are shown.
Oh, okay.
Until the Silent Embraces is their last album.
Well, what struck me about this was it mentions even lack of hope. All is darkness, broken dreams, sorrows, etc. It goes on like that. And it is also a very, very slow, measured song. It's delivered in a way that it just washes over you. I really liked that. So once again, I mean, how many times can I say it? There's just, darkness, pain.
But this is a staple of what Helllight are so good at, is getting to that darker, like endless pain and suffering that humans go through during these grieving times.
Right. And I also think it does describe, as we said, philosophical or like worldly ideas about how humans are placed in the world and then taken from the world. That's
right.
Idea.
I 100% agree with that. And I'm just going to add this. My favorite song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. As daylight fades. No, I'm just going to say, this is my favorite one. I put 5 stars by it. No joke. Also, I do want to say, you can see this as a very nice video with candles and everything. It's a very nice video.
Oh, it absolutely is. It is well shot.
Amazing. Once again, I am just going to say it. The singing, Heike Langen's, I hope I'm saying that right, superior voice brings this song, this dismal song, to life.
Oh, absolutely. So, it brings it to new heights. It is just awesome.
This is an amazing song. The delivery of it, I think, enhances the meaning of it.
I do agree.
And the lyrics are not really long, but they are drawn out and delivered in such a way, as I said. Something about the entire song being a metaphor for the painful emotions and or the sympathy. Talking about the dead. So I believe that might be what is going on.
So so this idea of like this daylight fading, right? As we look back on past memories of death and mournful elements, that again they deliver such a masterclass here within the writings here. I'll just quickly say my favorite line here. In silent emptiness, we drift away like tears in the rain. Again, emphasizing this idea of we will become nothing more than a marker that no one will give a fuck about.
Right. Life is fleeting. So
I think that's the emphasis here. Fleeting.
Yeah, life is fleeting. My favorite one was in this song, and what I think made me think about things a lot was, until all the moons pass over me. I'm believing that this means probably a forever, an eternity. Yes. In other words, okay.
Again, we're going right back to the very beginning of this album. Eons spent, through this echoing of time. We are stuck in a moment, but it lasts forever.
We'll take the pain until the end. In other words, until all the moons pass over. In other words, it's never ending. The pain of death will occur forever and has been occurring since
the dawn of time.
Right. So this is also, I believe, what this is about. What a beautiful delivery, beautiful song. When you listen to her sing, you're thinking, oh, it's such a beautiful song. Oh my God, it's so dismal and dark. And, it's just,
it's just awesome.
It is. is. It's awesome when that happens.
Like I stated earlier, go and check out the rest of her work. It's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, great singer. Obsolete dreams. Obsolete means no longer, gone. And so with that, the dreams are gone. I do want to say that I did really enjoy the great clear singing voice with this one, and where it starts right away. I thought that was interesting. This is a sad song, once again, of utter hopelessness. And what struck me, you just have to listen to the song. I mean, basically the themes through all of these are pretty much the same.
They are a bit, yeah, but I would just like to point out...
It never goes away. Once again, they're saying that. It never ends and never goes away. We just said that in the other song. So here we are. But at the end, I'll just read these. What if there's nothing else to live beyond stars? What if there's nothing else to see? I think it is actually a question of simply, when we die, what happens? I think that's kind of what we're getting at.
So to emphasize that point, I'll read my ones. From what I've seen, some wounds just won't heal. From what I feel, it all seems unreal. This idea of, like you were saying, what happens? Because, we carry around this burden and we feel like we're not actually here anymore because of these feelings. We are so almost like a solipsist in that sense, where nothing is real until it's seen, almost. So when we look at the stars and we question our own existence, especially after someone has died, these thoughts do run through people's heads.
Right.
Of, oh, okay, where the fuck do I fit in all of this?
Yeah.
What was the point?
Right. Like, where does a human being fit in the universe?
Exactly.
And why is our existence so fleeting and things like that? Like, why is there this hopelessness?
Again, this album has done two things that I wasn't expecting. One, to still keep what Helllight does best, and that's poetic lyrics. Two, super philosophical questioning. And this is getting, like, if you sit down and you analyze what is actually going on. Now, again, we cannot go into huge detail here. I want to try and keep these episodes as decently length as I can.
Yeah, we want them succinct. We're not going to go into the deep philosophical meaning of each and every line.
But the general themes are like...
We're just doing the bullet points of what we feel that these are about, and give people a general idea if they like this kind of thing. This is something that would be a great thing to sit around with friends and discuss these lyrics. The deeper meanings that these guys have decided to bring forth in their music, and I commend them for it. The Last March.
Now, if that isn't a great funeral doom title, I don't know what is.
Exactly. As I said, when you were talking about the music aspects, it does sound like a march. Title for the perfect sound.
And speaking of, we march towards we march towards the end, dressed in black. If that is not what I personally think sums up this whole entire concept, I'm going to put it like this. It's a funeral hymn.
Yeah. It sounds like a funeral march or procession. It has words describing that. What is happening, we have very dismal images going on with, once again, no hope, only despair. They even use the word, this is the one where you described it as a very harsh, dark song, almost scary, and they even use the word in here somewhere, terror. All I feel, terror, here we go. As I walk the last mile, all I see is fire. All I hear is lament. All I feel, terror.
So these are the last moments of someone's life.
Right. It could be someone looking at that and thinking about that, or it could actually be a person
Again,
beautiful.
you hear some of these stories of like almost like deathbed confessions, almost of like people seeing hell or heaven.
Right. So we have in this, you just mentioned it, we have a lot of metaphors of emotions to fires in here. So this is extremely bleak. The
Mhm.
last, oh Lord, here we go. Let me just, last lines are extremely bleak. See the fire consuming our earth. Hear the cries of war. Feel the spreading suffering of our mothers, our fathers, our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters. There's only one race, the human race. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out there. This is our world right now. In other words,
Yeah,
I
this is
I
kind of
see
relatable to
this
what's going on right now. Yeah,
absolutely.
without getting too political, obviously. Yeah,
I'm not going to go down that path. I'm not going down the political path. But when you think about all the things that have happened over, say, the last 5 to 10 years, our world, you know, I'm not getting religious. I'm not getting political. I'm just saying there's a lot of shit going on. And
right. And this is why I compare it to a funeral hymn, because you have these like these almost like religious ideas or even political ideas, but they're done in a way that expresses the idea of someone either dying or witnessing someone dying and relating it to the world around them.
right, that's why
In
I
other
say
words,
that.
they're comparing their world going to hell with the literal world going to hell.
Yes,
I
it's
guess
very
the best way I could put this is when if you have a family member that was in a war and they're describing all of the terrors that went on and they succumb to injuries due to that war, you could almost attribute it to that element of them like reliving that hell on earth type scenario. I think that is the kind of imagery here that we're sort of getting. At least
right.
that's what I'm reading from it.
Well, yeah, the imagery is not what I mean, it's not going on right now, but it's a metaphor for the emotions.
Right. It's that emotional state.
I think it's just wonderful. I actually like this. I actually like this dismal end last March.
That was fantastic. Again, I keep sounding like a broken record, but it just is. It just is.
I know, me too. I'm saying the same things over and over again.
Album art. Now, it's a sad state of affairs that I have to yet again say this, especially for an album of this quality. But if I do find out that this album had any contact with any element of I will unfortunately have to remove it. And again, it's sad that I have to say that because, you know, the album is really awesome. So, what we have here is a sort of old withered tree with some birds flying about in the background with some sort of foggy like element with a nice little border around the entire picture.
Yeah, I
We
like
have
that element.
some figures dressed in white. I'm assuming they represent this idea of the lost spirits or souls.
Yeah. Yeah, the eons of people that have passed.
They are holding up a light to try and show us the way of not
Right.
forgetting our past mistakes, maybe, in terms of like, you know, honoring the dead.
Yeah.
After all, the title of the album is We the Dead. The color scheme, of course, as you guys can see, is a very sort of muted, yellowy white.
Yeah, like a little bit of an ambery color, you know, that aged photographs will sometimes have, antique photos and things like that.
What would you score the album art?
Well, I really like the little border thing, and I like their logo. I don't know why, but I'm not a huge fan of what's going on here.
I'm in
I
agreement here.
I think it could be a little bit better.
I
I would
agree.
actually prefer if the figures were like a watercolor painting in instead of looking like real people under sheets. Like
It's
I
very
think
Photoshoppy.
yeah. So I would feel better if it was more just like a painterly. And
I would agree. I would agree with that. Again, I prefer their last album art. I thought that was done
Yeah,
extremely
yeah,
well.
that was beautiful.
This one is misleading in terms of what is going on musically. I
Oh,
feel that the
musically,
album art
stellar.
doesn't
Yeah,
do the album justice.
I agree with you.
That's why I am unfortunately giving it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean it's not horrible.
No,
So,
but again, it's just a slight downgrade from what
yeah.
we've seen previously from these guys.
I mean, I guess the one thing that I do like is it has a sort of a texture to the paper, the way it looks. I like that. I like that it looks like watercolor paper. I like that.
But again, like I said, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with an 8. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna just go along with yeah.
So there you have it, 8 out of 10, guys. Album scoring.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, it really is. The fact that it made me, want to take a mournful walk through a cemetery.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
wait a minute. You do that all the time, so.
Well, that's how you know it's a good album.
Okay.
But my only genuine complaint is the artwork. That's why it's coming in, for me,
Yes.
9.9 out of 10.
Okay, well, I guess I will just defer to you in that as well, since I agreed about the problem with the artwork, and that makes sense then, because we have to give that wiggle room for the albums that come through fully with the art as well.
Exactly.
So I think that's the music so solid, so beautiful. I really, really enjoyed this.
See, this is the thing. The music, the lyrics are so top tier. It's just the art that just dropped the ball a little with trying to get across what this album was about. The album art should have been a bit more darker, a bit more bleaker, a bit more doomier. So yeah, 9.9 out of 10. Final thoughts.
Well, I mean, I absolutely loved it. What am I going to say?
Again, I'm just going to continue on with that sentiment. Now, there's an epic masterclass in funeral doom. It is an amazing mix of pain, sorrow, and dread. The dark, bleak elements are just out of this world. Again, our genuinely only complaint here is the artwork. It just doesn't live up to all that awesomeness.
Well, in general, to me, that's a very, very minute part of what's going on. So it doesn't really affect whether I'm going to listen to the album or not listen to the album.
Right.
Love the album, not love the album. So I think solid music, solid singing, solid lyrics, beautiful overall theme through the whole thing. Really makes you think.
So again, like I said all the way at the beginning, a possible album contender of the year.
Yeah.
This could easily be album of the year. It could.
Easily. Yeah, easily.
Don't forget to go and check out their other mournful offerings, links in the description. Until next time, mourners, remember, every day is a funeral.